What is up, everybody? I am Get Flanked, and I have some more early access gameplay for you from Operation Burnt Horizon. Ubisoft was nice enough to fly me out to Montreal and allow me to play Burnt Horizon early, and in this video we're going to go over the new attacking operator that's coming with Burnt Horizon. Her name is Gridlock. In this video, we're going to go over Gridlock's loadout. I'll show you everything she has available to her. I'll show you how her gadget works in action. You'll see some unedited gameplay of Gridlock. I'll also give you my first impressions of what I thought about Gridlock, and as a bonus here, you're going to see some gameplay on the new map that's coming with Burnt Horizon. Okay, so before we get into Gridlock's loadout, let me just give you kind of a general statement here. I think that Gridlock is one of the most unique operators we've seen introduced in Rainbow Six Siege. As far as DLC goes, there's some interesting aspects to her that we've never seen any other operators have as far as DLC operators, and I think that she's going to be somebody that could really change the way that roamers play. If she ends up having a high pick rate in this game, it's going to be something that roamers have to deal with, and it could really change the way that roamers play on certain objectives and on certain maps. So I think there's a ton of potential with Gridlock, but it's probably going to take some time before we really see how powerful she's going to become. Okay, so let's start getting into Gridlock's kit, and the first thing you have to say about Gridlock is that she's actually a 3 armor, 1 speed attacker, and that's a first. We have never seen a DLC operator introduced on the attacking side that's a 3 armor, 1 speed, so that's really unique. I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, that's probably one of the most unique things about Gridlock, 3 armor, 1 speed attacker. As far as Gridlock's gadget, it's called the Trax Stingers, and it's basically a gadget that she can throw out. She has 3 of them in total. She throws it out and it deploys over a period of time, eventually taking up a pretty large area of a section of the map. And if defenders want to try and make it through there, they have to shoot each one out individually. They can also melee them, but I believe they take damage if they try to melee them. They can use explosive damage as far as a nitro cell or an impact grenade. A lot of ways to get rid of them. They only require 1 bullet, but if the defenders actually step on them, they're going to do 10 damage and make a little bit of noise. So it's basically used as like a flank watch or a trap or a way of securing map control on the map as an attacker. One interesting aspect to her gadget, it does not interact with Jaeger's ADS in any way, shape, or form. If you throw one right next to a Jaeger ADS, the Jaeger ADS will have no impact on it. Okay, getting into Gridlock's weapons, the first one on the screen there is the F90, and as you can see, it does a damage of 38, a fire rate of 740, and a capacity of 30, and that damage is pretty low. The fire rate isn't, extraordinary. If you compare it to, say, Zophia's AR, for example, Zophia's fire rate is, I believe, 730, but does a damage of 45. So to give you kind of an idea of how low that damage is, what I will say with this is that the recoil is very manageable. Just learning to drag down slightly, you can turn this weapon into a laser. So I don't think this is going to rate high on paper, but I do think it's going to be a very easy weapon to use. Of note, it does not have angle grip available, only vertical grip, but all other attachments as far as barrels and sights are normal. It does have the ACOG available to it. The ACOG is your normal run-of-the-mill ACOG, and everything else as far as attachments is normal. The other primary weapon that Gridlock has available is the M249 Saw, and this is an LMG, and it's very similar to Capital's LMG. As you can see there on the screen, has a damage of 48 and a fire rate of 650. These are the exact same stats as Capital's M249 LMG. The difference here is that it has a capacity of 60, okay, and Capital has a capacity of 100, I believe. Where it makes up for it is a much faster reload time. Now, I didn't actually test the reload times between Capital and Gridlock, but to me it seems much faster. It's a side-mounted magazine, and the magazine change time is pretty fast for LMGs in general, and especially faster than Capital from what I remember. As far as a couple unique things with attachments, again, no angled grip available on this weapon, which I don't think is really strange when it comes to the LMGs, but instead of an ACOG, they call it a scope. It's the same magnification as an ACOG, but it has a different casing, a little bit thinner, so it's actually, in my opinion, preferable over an ACOG. And as far as the barrel attachments, only compensator and flash hider, I believe, are the only 2 options, so you're missing a couple options there on the barrel attachments. I think this is probably going to be the play when it comes to Gridlock. You're going to get a bigger ammo capacity. You're giving up a little bit on fire rate compared to the F90, but much more damage. And then that, really nice casing with the scope compared to the ACOG. I think this might be the preferable weapon if you're running Gridlock. As far as secondary options, Gridlock has a shotgun and a pistol option. Okay, the shotgun is the super shorty, the same as what Mozzie is. So if you're familiar with that, then it's the same exact shotgun secondary that Mozzie has. It does very good soft destruction. Really, the only limitation is that it only has a 3-round capacity. So a lot of reloading if you're trying to make rotations or something like that. As an attacker, it's a little bit different. You're going to be using it more for opening hatches, which it does very well at. It's a nice addition to have for her and gives her a lot of utility. Last but not least, Gridlock has smoke grenades and breaching charges available to her. We all know how powerful those smoke grenades can be for executes. I think breaching charges are often overlooked, but both of those are good options for an attacker to have. And overall, I think her loadout is pretty good. You have a lot of variety here. You can go a lot of different play styles. You have a lot here that you can feel comfortable with, no matter how you want to play. Okay, let's get into some gameplay, and in this round, you're going to see me playing as Gridlock. You'll see me running her LMG, that M249 Saw. You'll see how I choose to deploy her gadget, and then we'll come back after this round. We'll break down her gadget a little bit more. We'll go into a little bit more depth.
Trax Stinger.
15 seconds left. 10 seconds. Bomb diffusion initiated. Protect the diffuser. Down to one friendly. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
Okay, so as you can see there, the way that I was playing with Gridlock was to take control of an area of the map and then throw her track system out. And I remember during the course of this round really having peace of mind that nobody was going to come that way. And I think that is how I initially think to use it. But I think there is some different ways you could go about it. I think for post plants, like if you get the diffuser down and throw out a couple around the diffuser, that's a good use of it. I think, again, it's going to be something that kind of develops over time. On the screen right now, you're seeing how this can be a nightmare for Clash. If you see a Clash, you're playing as Gridlock, you throw one of these out around her, it's going to do 10 damage every time that she hits one, and it's really going to make Clash's life difficult. Now, one thing to note here is that these actually don't put you down but not out. It's an instant kill. So if you actually kill somebody with one, it's not going to put them down but not out. It's going to kill them instantly. So that's kind of an interesting aspect of these. So I think really the main thing that I would say with her gadget, I see a lot of potential here. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops. It's going to be interesting to see how high of a pick rate she has. As a 1-speed, 3-armor attacker, how many players will just write her off because of that? That's a question that I have. If she has a high pick rate, and we're seeing rounds where Gridlock deploys all 3 of her tracks every single time, as a roamer, that's going to change things. That's, really going to change things. And I think that's just going to have to be something that we wait and see how it develops. That's really all you can say. One interesting thing I wanted to show here, as I throw one of her track system behind this half wall on an enemy that's sitting back there, as long as they stand still, it didn't seem to do any damage. Once they move, it starts doing damage as soon as they step on one of them. But if I throw it out around and it goes off around somebody who's sitting still, it doesn't do any damage until they move. That's what I found from my testing, so keep that in mind. As I think about counters for Gridlock, it's kind of like everybody can counter her gadget, but nobody can at the same time. Anybody who has bullets can shoot out her gadget and get rid of them, but nobody's like a hard counter. Everybody that we tested took damage. There's nobody who's like immune to its effects or anything like that. So it's in effect, she has 0 counters, but also anybody who has a weapon with bullets in it can get rid of them. So that's kind of an interesting aspect of Gridlock. Okay, that's going to do it for the video as far as my first impressions of Gridlock here. I hope you all enjoyed this. I did one for Mozzie already. I'll link that in the top right-hand corner of the screen. If you want to go find out more information about Mozzie, then you can go do that by clicking there. If you all enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll have more coming your way here soon.